Welcome you all for direct taxation class. In today's session, we will discuss about Unit 6. Unit 6 comprises of computation of taxable income of company with special reference to MAT under section 115 JB. Alright. So here this is related to companies that will be assessed as per minimum alternative tax. MAT is also said as minimum alternative tax under section 115 JB. So, as the unit speaks about computation of tax liability of the companies with respect to MAT, right? First and foremost thing, we need to understand what is company, right? So here company means for the purpose of Income Tax Act, right, where based on the Income Tax Act 1961, the term company, what they define here is, it is also considered as a person, right? So which has a wider meaning that has been given by the Companies Act. So Companies Act has defined what is company. So with respect to income tax norms, the company is also considered as the person with respect to the assessment that has to be made under section 2, subsection 31, subsection 3. Right. So here, as per section 2, subsection 17 of Income Tax Act 1961 defines company for income tax purpose. So, based on that, what it says here, any Indian company as defined in section 2, subsection 26, one thing. Next thing, any body, corporate, incorporated by or under the laws of the country outside India, that is any foreign company, or any institution, association or body which is assessable or was assessed as a company for any assessment year under the Income Tax Act 1922 or for any assessment year commencing on or before 1/4/1970 under the present Income Tax Act, or any institution, association or a body whether incorporated or not, and whether Indian or non-Indian, which is declared by the general or special order of CBDT, that is Central Board of Direct Taxes, to be a company. These are all said as company under section 2, subsection 17. Also, institutions, association, etc. shall also be deemed as a company for such assessment year as specified by the CBDT, Central Board of Direct Taxes. Clear? This is what company means as per the Income Tax Act. Right? Next thing is, we need to understand the classification of companies. So, where we come across domestic company as well as foreign company, right? So, first thing, what do you mean by domestic company here, right? So, here again companies are classified into two, that is domestic company and foreign company. Clear? So, domestic company means what? Domestic company means an Indian company or any other company which is in respect of its income liable to tax that has made the prescribed arrangements for the declaration and the payment of dividends within India, payable out of such incomes under section 2, subsection 22A, that is said as domestic company, right? Where again, if you want to say Indian company, domestic company is also said as Indian company. So, if you want to say Indian company, right? So Indian company, section 2, subsection 26. Clear? So if you want to say that it has to satisfy certain conditions with respect to Indian company. That is condition number 1. The company should have been formed and registered under Companies Act 1956. Now it is 2013. Right? This is one condition. Next condition. The registered office or the principal office of the company should be in India. Right? These are the two conditions it should satisfy to say that it is an Indian company. And also it includes the expression of Indian company also includes certain things. When it is said as registered or principal office is in India, it is said, right? So at that point of time, company formed and registered under any law relating to companies which was or in force in any part of India, that is one thing you need to check. Afterwards, a corporation established by or under a central state provisional act, that is one thing. Another one with respect to example like State Road Transport Corporation, like these corporations will be established. So that will be said as a corporation established by or under a state or a provisional act. That is one thing. Next thing, an institution or association or a body which is declared by the board to be the company under section 2 subsection 17 subsection 4. That is one thing. Next, in case of any other union territories of Dadar and Nagar Haveli, Goa, Daman and Diu and Pondicherry, a company formed and registered under any law for time being which is in force in union territory, that is also said as Indian company. Clear? So these things you should know about how it is said as Indian company. Clear? So we say that this is one thing that is said as domestic company. Next is foreign company. So foreign company in the sense, the company that is not a domestic company is said as foreign company. Right? Under section 2 subsection 23A. Okay. So now you are clear with the classification of the companies that you need to remember. Right. So next thing is we will move on to MAT. So what do you mean by MAT? First and foremost, in brief, I will say what it is. MAT is minimum alternative tax. It is payable under the Income Tax Act. Right? The concept was introduced to target those companies who were making huge profits, who were paying the dividend to their shareholders, but they were not paying the taxes or they were paying the minimal taxes under the normal provisions of Income Tax Act, where they took an advantage of various deductions, exemptions that were allowed under the Act. Right? So this is a brief about what is MAT. Right? This minimum alternative tax is applicable for all the companies, even including foreign companies. Clear? So when you are making the assessment with respect to MAT, right, minimum alternative tax. So here it is a provision under the direct tax law, right, to a limit that exemptions are availed by the company, so that they mandatorily pay a minimum amount of tax to the government. So as per section 115 JB, all the companies are required to pay the corporate tax, right, at least equal to the two of these or whichever is more, right, where normal tax liability, one thing, normal tax liability or MAT, right. So here normal tax liability means it will be calculated as per the provision of Income Tax Act by applying the normal provisions, right. So here it will apply the tax that is applicable with respect to company, where the normal tax rate applicable for the company is 30% plus 4% of education cess and surcharge if it is applicable. That will be assessed, where you will be assessing in terms of normal tax liability. Afterwards, it is minimum alternative tax you will assess based on minimum alternative tax, right? So here, with respect to this, right? So the applicable rate is 15%. Earlier, it was 18.5% on book profit. Further, I will explain what is book profit. So book profit plus applicable cesses that will be chargeable and also surcharge. So that is your MAT, how you will be calculating the company. So based on these two, whichever is higher, that will be taken into consideration and you need to pay the tax as per that. Right. So MAT is levied at the lower rate of 9% also with respect to companies that are unit of International Financial Service Center and that are driven their income solely with respect to convertible foreign exchange. At that point of time, MAT will be levied at 9%. So other time it will be 15% they will be levying. Clear? So this is MAT. A brief historical background. Now we will move on to historical background. So brief historical background of this. Why it is? So taxpayers, that is companies, they were generating huge profits during the years and they were taking due advantages of the provisions that are available in income tax, such as exemptions, deductions, depreciations, etc. Right? And also using all these provisions, they were reducing their tax liability, or they might not pay the tax at all. That was the situation. Due to this, there was an increase in zero tax paying companies in India. So at that point of time, minimum alternative tax was introduced by the Finance Act in 1987 for the first time, with effect from the assessment year 1988 and 89. Later on, it was withdrawn by the Finance Act during 1990. And again it was reintroduced by Finance Act in 1996 with effect from 1/4/1977. This is the historical background of minimum alternative tax. Clear? Next is objective, minimum alternative tax objective. So what is the objective of this? The objective of introducing minimum alternative tax is to bring into the tax net zero tax companies, which in spite of having their extra earned substantial book profit, lot of book profit, and they paid handsome amount to their shareholders, but they were not paying the taxes because they were taking the various exemption, deduction, depreciation, concession that were available and incentives that were provided by the income tax law. So main objective of this minimum alternative tax is to bring into tax bracket which were the companies that were claiming themselves as a zero tax companies. Clear? That is one thing. Afterwards, since the introduction of minimum alternative tax, there were several changes that were brought in the companies and also provisions related to minimum alternative tax. And today the companies have to pay the tax, either the one that will be levied on the companies as per the provision of section 115 JB, where it says at least minimum tax should be paid by the companies. That is the objective of minimum alternative tax. Right. And also here, while speaking about minimum alternative tax, I also quoted a word or used the word corporate tax. Means all the companies are required to pay corporate tax at least equal to or higher of these two. This was said, right? So we will understand what is corporate tax, right? So what is corporate tax here? So popularly we also call it as corporation tax. It is also called by the other name corporation tax, right? So this corporation tax is popularly known as corporate tax, that is a direct tax levied on the net income or the profit that the corporate enterprises are making through their business, right? This tax was imposed at a specific rate or as per the provision of Income Tax Act 1961. It will be chargeable, right? Where the companies are also classified here based on certain things. They say the types of companies, right? Where corporations not seeking any incentives or exemptions, they will not be coming under the bracket of minimum alternative tax, right? But the tax rate that will be applicable for them is 22%, right? Next is companies seeking incentives or exemptions. They will be gaining this with respect to MAT, will be applicable for them, where it will be chargeable at 15%. Next, new manufacturing companies, right? They will be charged at 15%. Earlier it was charged at 25%. Now they are charging at 15%, where they say that new manufacturing companies must be incorporated on or before October 2019 and they must start their production before 2023. That is what they say, right? This classification, that is types of company and income tax slab and additional benefits or requirements, that is whether they are applicable to minimum alternative tax or not, that was decided by Finance Ministry, right? So based on that, this corporate tax or corporation tax will be applicable. Clear? Where the corporate entities that are liable to pay the corporate tax in India are either incorporated corporations in India, that is one thing, corporations that acquire revenues from India and do the business on those earned incomes, they are called corporate entities. Other foreign enterprises that have permanently established themselves in India, they are called corporate entities. Next, corporations that have earned the title of being an Indian resident only for the purpose of tax payment, they are also called corporate entities, right? So these are all corporate entities, right? So that is what the term corporate tax means. So where the corporate entities need to pay the tax, so that will be claimed as corporate tax. Next term is dividend distribution tax, right? So what do you mean by this dividend distribution tax? It is also called DDT. In short form, we call it as DDT, right? So here, dividend refers to the distribution of profits to the shareholders by the company. You know dividend, right? So based on that, dividend distribution tax will be charged on the profits that are distributed, right? So here, corporations need to calculate the tax on the net profit after deducting the expenses incurred with respect to DDT, right? So dividend distribution tax is a type of tax that is payable on the dividend that is given to the shareholders by the corporate, right? So based on that, higher the dividend, right, means greater the tax burden to the corporate entity. Means if you are paying more dividend to the shareholders, at that point of time, you need to pay more tax on it. That is dividend distribution tax, right? That you need to remember. And also here, dividend distribution tax is governed by the provision of section 115O of Income Tax Act 1961. Clear? At presently, the dividend distribution tax payable on the dividends offered by the company shareholders is 15% on the gross amount of distribution as a dividend. So this burden will be on the corporate entities. Clear? So, dividend distribution tax will be applicable on the dividends, where any with respect to domestic company exemption will be given. Right? Okay. Next thing. Hope you are clear with this, right? Next, we will move on to analysis of provisions of section 115 JB. Right? So here, where in case of a company, right, the income tax payable on the total income that will be computed under the income tax, right, in respect to any previous years, if it is less than 15% of its book profit, then such book profit shall be called to be the total income of the assessee, and tax payable on such total income shall be the amount of income tax of 15%. Another thing, with respect to income tax, further it will be enhanced by your education cess as well as health cess, that is out of 4%. Right. So, analysis of provision of section 115 JB means here we will be making the computation of income as well as the tax liability based on two sets of provisions, right? Two sets of provisions. The sets of provision will, whatever the resultant, the higher income tax liability will become the tax payable for the corporate entity, right? So, what are the two sets of provision? One is as per the normal provision of Income Tax Act, you will be making the computation where it is similar to your business problem, right? How you will be making the computation with respect to business, computation of business, right? So, that normal provisions will be applicable in such a way, right? And as per the provision of minimum alternative tax under section 115 JB. So, based on that, analysis will be made, right? So, here while doing the analysis, especially with respect to 115 JB, we will come across a concept called book profit, right? We will come across a concept called book profit. So, what do you mean by book profit here? Book profit means the net profit as shown in your profit and loss account for the relevant previous year and has increased and decreased by some prescribed items, right? In simple terms, it can also be said as whatever with respect to your profit and loss account, you make it with respect to adding some items and deleting some items. So, that will be said as book profit, right? So, with respect to minimum alternative tax, the computation of book profit is very essential. Based on that only, we will decide whether the company need to pay the tax based on minimum alternative tax or the normal tax provision. Clear? So, we will understand now about computation of book profit for the purpose of minimum alternative tax as per 115 JB, right? How it is? So, now due to the applicability of Indian accounting standards, right, section 115 JB has to be calculated, has also been amended, and it is calculated based on the Indian accounting standard compliances, right? So, where while computing the book profit, so it has to follow certain steps, right? So, which are those? First step is they need to find out the net profit as per the statement of profit and loss of the company, where before other comprehension income means taking into consideration other subsidiaries incomes into the consideration, they need to identify the net profit as per the profit and loss of that particular company. First step. Second step, they need to make the adjustments with respect to existing provisions under section 115 JB subsection 2. Right? That is one thing. Next step, that is step 3, they need to make the adjustments in case of demerger as given by the new subsection 2B to section 115 JB Act. Right? And next thing, they need, that is step 4, they need to make the adjustments pertaining to OCI items that will be permanently recorded. OCI means other comprehensive income items that will be permanently recorded in the reserves. That is never to be reclassified in the statement of profit and loss account, means they should not be reclassified in the statement of profit and loss account. While computing the book profit, these 4 steps should be kept in mind, as which is also amended by the Indian Accounting Standard section 115 JB. Right. So next question is how to calculate minimum alternative tax. Right. Minimum alternative tax is equal to 15% of book profit. Means when you assess the book profit, on that 15% you will be levying on it, and also surcharge as well as cess will be applicable on it. Where book profit means your net profit that is shown in the P&L account for that particular year, that will be either increased or that will be decreased by the items. So which are those additions, which are those deletions, means which will be increasing, right, or which will be decreasing the net profit. So that we will understand now. Means while assessing that, you should know what are the additions to be made with respect to net profit when you are making the assessment of minimum alternative tax. Right. So additions means addition to net profit. Addition to net profit. How it will be made, that we will understand now. So addition to net profit here, if debited to your profit and loss account, means in case those items are debited towards your profit and loss account, that need to be added back to your net profit, that will be increasing your net profit. Clear? Which are those? First one, income tax paid or payable, right, if any, calculated as per normal provisions of income tax, which includes dividend distribution tax, interest, surcharge, health and education cess. This is one that need to be added to your net profit. Next, transfer made by any reserves, that has to be added. Dividend proposed or paid, that has to be added. Next is provisions. Here, amount of provision that will be meeting your liabilities other than ascertained liability. Right. So already you have said these are the liabilities which we will be spending. So apart from that, you make the, so for example, for stationery, you have made the liability, this is what the liability will be spent for stationery. That is said ascertained, means you have already said. And also you are making the provisions for meeting liabilities also. Other than these liability, already you have said these are the liabilities will be coming with respect to our operations, but afterwards you will also say that these are the liabilities. So with respect to that amount of provision meeting the liabilities, that will also be added back. Next, provision for loss of subsidiary companies, right, that has to be added back. Next, expenditure relatable to the or related to exemption of income under section 10, 11, 12, that should be added back. Expenditure related to share of an assessee in the income of association of person or body of individuals, that should be added back. Expenditure related to income accruing to foreign company, it should be added back. Notional loss on the units of business trust, that is, if any transfer of capital asset or any change in carrying out of amounts by said units or any transfer of such units, that is, at that point of time you might come across this notional loss, so that need to be added back. Next, amount of expenditure related to income referred under section 100 and section 15 BBF, means that is income by way of royalty in respect of patent if you are charging or chargeable to tax, that has to be added back. Depreciation, including depreciation on account of revaluation of assets, that need to be added back. Provision for deferred tax, that is to be added back, right? Provision made for diminishing or decreasing the value of asset, that has to be added back. Amount standing with respect to revaluation of reserve, it is to be added back. Amount of gain arised on transfer of units of business trust, if you are making any capital gain out of it, so at that point of time. Next, brought forward losses and unobserved depreciation, right? Here in this case, right, aggregate amount of unobserved depreciation and loss brought forward in case companies were under tribunal on application will be moved in the central government, or any company against whom the application has been filed saying that corporate insolvency. So at that point of time, depending on the insolvency and bankruptcy code of 2016, so aggregate amount of brought forward loss and unobserved depreciation that will be occurred, that has to be added back. Next one, brought forward loss or unobserved depreciation in any other companies, means normally who will be doing their business. At that point of time, amount of brought forward loss or unobserved depreciation, whichever is less, that will be considered as per the book of account, that will be considered and it will be added back. In case if brought forward loss or unobserved depreciation is nil, at that point of time no deductions will be allowed from the book profit, that you need to remember. Next one, profit of SIC industrial company. So these are the items that are prescribed, right, that has to be added to your net profit if it is debited in your P&L account. Understanding that you need to remember. Next thing is, what is the deduction or deduction to net profit? Here, if they are credited to your profit and loss account, at that point of time, those things need to be deducted. Clear? So what are those? Amount withdrawn from any reserves or provision, that has to be deducted. Next, exemption income, means the amount of income to which any provisions related to section 10, section 11, section 12, except 10 AA and 10 subsection 38. Exemption income will be given the deduction. Next, amount withdrawn from the revaluation reserve and it is credited to P&L account with respect to the extent of your depreciation on account of revaluation of asset, that has to be deducted. Next, amount of brought forward loss or unobserved depreciation, whichever is less as per the book of accounts. So that has to be added back. Deduction should be given. Sorry. Next, amount of deferred tax, in case if any such amount is credited in P&L account. Remember, now we are speaking regarding what is the deduction that need to be given out of your book profit, where these items, if it is credited in your profit and loss account. You need to remember. Next, amount of depreciation debited in the P&L account. That has to be deducted. Share of an assessee in the income of association of person or body of individuals, if again any such is credited to your P&L account. Income accruing to foreign company, that will be arise through capital gain arising through the transaction of securities or interest or royalty or any fees from technical services, that will be chargeable to tax, that need to be given the deduction. Next, again notional gain on the units of business trust, if it is credited to P&L account, that need to be deducted. Loss of transfer of units, deduction need to be given. Income by way of royalty taxable under section 115 BBF, deduction should be given. Next, profit of sick company, deduction need to be given. Brought forward loss and unobserved depreciation with respect to companies that were the application are moved in the tribunal by the central government, as well as the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Act, that is in case if it is credited in the P&L account, it has to be given deduction. In any other companies, brought forward loss and unobserved depreciation, whichever is less as per the companies, as per the book of accounts, that need to be given deduction, right? So this is how the deductions will be given, right? One is your addition to net profit, another one is deduction. Deduction to net profit. Afterwards, you will make your assessment with respect to minimum alternative tax, right? Hope you are clear with this. Once you understand solve means once we solve with the problem, then you will understand it clearly, right? So this is the theoretical aspects of your how the provisions of MAT under section 115 JB will be made, right? Next thing is income tax rate of the companies. This you need to remember, because based on this the tax will be calculated as well as the tax liability will be decided, right? So based on the domestic company and foreign company, that is the classification of what it is there. So how it is applicable? So here, in case if it is a domestic company, right? In case domestic company in the sense it is Indian company, right? So at that point of time, 30% is chargeable to tax. But in case if the turnover or the gross receipt of the company does not exceed 400 CR, right, in the previous year 2017-18, at that point of time 25% is the tax that will be charged. Afterwards, surcharge will be applicable. In case net income is not crossing 1 CR, that is 1 crore, nil surcharge. Next, net income more than 1 CR but less than 10 CR, 7% of surcharge will be applicable. Next, more than 10 CR, 12% of surcharge will be applicable on the tax rate whatever we calculate, plus health and education cess of 4% will be charged. Next, with respect to foreign company, in case the company is receiving any royalty, right, any royalty from the government or Indian concern with respect to agreement made by the Indian concern after March 31st, 1961, but before April 1, 1976, or fees for rendering any technical services, and again agreement has been made after February 29, 1964, but before April 1, 1976, where such agreement has been made, which has been approved by the central government, at that point of time 50% is applicable tax rate. Other companies 40% is applicable. Same here, surcharge with respect to net income less than 1 CR, it is nil. net income more than 1 CR, less than 10 CR, 2% surcharge, more than 10 CR, 5% surcharge is applicable. In addition to that, health and education cess is applicable at 4% on your tax. These are the theoretical aspects which you need to remember when you are making the computation of taxable income as well as tax liability of the company with reference to minimum alternative tax under section 115 JB. Clear? Hope you are clear about the theoretical background or the theoretical concepts about this. In further sessions, we will go on with the problems on this. Thank you.